Hello my friends, today we are going to talk about arpeggios because many people ask me how to play it and I found that beginners find them quite difficult. I personally loved arpeggios. I think they're very natural, but I've been playing piano all my life. So I wanted to talk about the basics of arpeggios because the way you play depends on the speed, on duration and the form, whether arpeggio is long or whether it's arpeggios like this. So because this is series called Back to Basics, I want to talk about the main principles of arpeggios, taking it from the very beginning. First of all, what is arpeggio? Arpeggio is based on the chords, on the notes of the first, third and fifth note of the scale. So basically tonic triad plus again the first note from the next octave. So if we just wanted to play one arpeggio, it would be like this for one octave. And here I want to immediately talk about the fundamentals because you can play arpeggio with the round hand or with piano yoga position, what we call. But one thing for sure, in both of these positions, you need to make sure that you have a bridge, your hyperthenar muscle, this muscle is engaged, and your thenar muscle is engaged. Because this is like a house, a fundamental of the house. And what would happen if the roof collapses? The house will collapse. If the wall will collapse, again the house will collapse. And then this, think about the hand position almost like a design, architectural design, either curled or straight. But these three areas need to be engaged. I personally suggest to put the fingers, unless we're dealing with children, but these series are not for children, they're for adults, and I would say children from 14 plus. Put your hands already on the keys, and you would see that your hand would want to be open. And slightly lead with your wrist and play it for one octave. If that feels nice and easy, then we can extend it to 2 octaves. And what is interesting that what challenging very often is that lift here. So some beginners find it quite difficult. Why? Because we need thenar muscle to be controlled, the thumb muscle. If that muscle is not strong and we cannot control it, it's going to create lots of problems in scales, arpeggio and everywhere because it will be very loud. And therefore in piano yoga again, we have in preliminary series, which we released recently as videos as well as the book, we have a special exercise which deals with the thenar muscle. But I think you can understand it, that this area needs to be engaged and needs to be strong. So when you do this, lift your wrist, engage your thenar and put your finger across. What is not good is to go too high and play with the elbow, very common mistake and very unnecessary, or also to be low, because basically the lower you go is very hard for you to do that change. So try to keep everything on one level, lead with the wrist and your forearm. And when you go down, again you lead with this side and your forearm. Now looking at the left hand, you can do the same. Just try for one octave and see how you feel. Many performers, beginner players and intermediate players find their left hand is less strong as the right hand, and it's absolutely normal. So you may need to give it a little bit more attention. And also I forgot to mention, when we play arpeggios, I always urge people to engage proximals. Proximals are the bottom part of the fingers. And again, all piano yoga is based on the usage of different parts of the fingers and especially proximals. So please, if you're interested further and want to know exercise, check out other videos or our tutorials. But in this respect, I really want you to have your fingers, imagine that you are kind of squeezing something, squeezing a ball, so that kind of sensation. And now play your arpeggio. Here I'm playing with curled, on here I'm playing with the straight fingers. So the straighter my fingers are, the more they cover territory on a key, and therefore the easier for me to control a sound. So for example, if I want to create beautiful singing tone, I would play more likely with the straighter fingers. If I want to create really play something very fast, like in short arpeggio, of course there I would want to have curled fingers. But for beginners, for now, I think it would be good if you can concentrate on this position, on engagement of sina and hypersina, and also work on a change. And as in the right hand, I suggest you do crescendo when you go towards the top, diminuendo when you go down. So. And even with such a simple exercise, you can start controlling your sound, strengthening your fingers, and cultivating beautiful legato sound. Because remember, the wrist is the key, forearm has to lead, but nothing is going to happen until your fingers are quite strong and engaged. I hope that was clear. If you want to take it further, you can of course start playing it on 3 octaves. 4 octaves, you can do both hands. But I always say to especially beginners, please be careful. Do not start playing too early with both hands, because then you can camouflage the problem of one hand, and usually it's the left. So I would encourage you to work for as long as possible with separate hands and start with the left. What would be the maximum, what would be the best if you can play for 4 octaves, and then if you want to have fun, you can just add the metronome and start slowly increasing the speed. But this would be the episodes for more intermediate to advanced players. Right now, I really want to make sure that you connect very well with the piano, with your hand. And as I always say, treat your hand a little bit like an external object. So see what it needs. And if you want a beautiful sound, just see what kind of position of the finger, contributes to the sound. So I hope it was clear for you and you enjoyed it. And if you have any comments, of course, please do leave them underneath the video. Any questions, I will do my best to address in the next video episode. Thank you.